Hey y'all, what's up? It is me again, Shaniqua, the Master Brand Story Coach, and I am here right now to talk to you about living life authentically. Now, as you guys know, I am a 10th grade English teacher in Fulton County, Georgia, and we are currently reading a poem by Edwin Arlington Robinson. There we go. And this poem is called Richard Cory. I'm going to share it with you before we get into our discussion, and you're going to see why in just a moment. So the poem is just 16 lines, and here we go. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people of the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from sole to crown, clean-favored and imperially slim. And he was always quietly arrayed, and he was always human when he talked. But still he fluttered pulses when he said, "Good morning," and he glittered when he walked. He was rich, yes, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace. In fine, we thought he was everything to make us wish that we were in his place. So on we worked and waited for the light, and went without the meat and cursed the bread. And Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. Now, I know you probably like, where did that come from? Plot twist. Nah, let's talk about this for real. See, the thing is, and I will tell you that for, a little bit, I might have been guilty of being like these people of the pavement, meaning the people who are hardworking, or if we relate it to who we're really talking about over here, we're talking about those people who are having to work their 9 to 5, or in my case, 8 to 4s, living this life where we are grinding and hustling and trying to get things done. Meanwhile, we are dreaming of taking the place of the people that we follow, maybe. And what I mean by that is, doing that laptop lifestyle for real, like from the beach or from a different island, or living outside of this place of strife somewhat, maybe in a different country altogether. And so we're looking at these people who seem to have these glorified lives that we ourselves want. We are looking at the way that they show up, the way that they are appearing out here in these internet streets, all their shiny stuff, all their plane tickets, all their stage appearances, all those things. But the things that we are looking at may not be as shiny as they seem. And if you are a person who is living that life, maybe you are an influencer and all of a sudden things took off. And so now you're having to keep this look up. But meanwhile, inside, you're really not feeling that way. Inside, you are wrestling with imposter syndrome because you're dealing with people, or the fear that people are going to find out who you really are. Like there was a case of this vegetarian who had her internet all things vegetarian, and someone caught her in Mexico, I think it was, eating some beef or some kind of meat. And all of a sudden, there goes life. She's spiraling. And then, there was another one who had millions of followers, and she took to the streets, the internet streets, to rant about the fact that she couldn't even sell a shirt. So the thing is, we're looking at these people who are glittery, who are shiny, who are appearing to be all kingly or something that we want to be, and they're suffering, and they're walking around in silence. And so in this entrepreneurial space, that's a very lonely concept, to be the person on either side. And so we've got to treat each other with some kind of grace. We've got to allow people to live authentically and to use their true voice. We've got to allow people to step into what their real power is. And their real power isn't making us feel good. Like, that's not what people are here to do. Nobody's here to make you feel good. I'm sorry, that's really not it. But they are helping you figure out how you're going to live your life to your best ability. You know, Beyonce's not up there on stage to make you feel good. She's up on there, she's taken her platform, and she's been somebody who wants to make you realize that you're more empowered than you actually are. Girls Rule the World, I'm a Diva, and all those types of songs are not about feel good, feel good. Those types of songs are about own who the hell you are. Like, step into your power, step into what your real potential and passion is. And that's the same thing with artists. Again, it's not about making you feel good, but it's about you seeing the possibilities. And so what I want to do with you today on this video is to ask you to really look inside yourself and figure out, what are your possibilities? What is it you're denying yourself? Why are you projecting on these people that you follow this lifestyle that you yourself want? And do you really actually want it? Do you want to have a life where people are forever looking up to you and yet you have no one to talk to? Is that really what you're going for? You know, like, think about the pedestal that we really put these celebrities or these internet celebrities on, and understand that there is a real life that goes underneath. They are not exempt to the roller coaster that is life. They're not exempt from death or struggle or mental health or any of those things. In fact, it's probably a lot more, I always use this word, but I'm never sure if I'm using it right. It's always more exacerbated. Let me just say more advanced than we may be dealing with. Because, you know, for instance, if they're having a death in the family from somebody that they love, do we tell them that they can't go on stage? Do we tell them that they can't smile before the cameras? Do we tell them that they can go outside without doing their hair? So we as people, we are looking or even idolizing people. And that's the part we have to remember, is people. Because there's a line in that poem that I say where it says, he's always human when he speaks. Yeah, what else is he gonna be? You know? Yeah. And so understand that for yourself. You are human. You are a person, and you are allowed to go through the cycles of life as long as you understand that the cycle ends on the way up. Like, you don't end down, you go ahead and go back up. But also realize that the people we are looking up to, the people that we want to be in their shoes or walk the same type of streets, they're also people, and they also have lives to go through. And so just as somebody could decide that there's something in life that they want strong enough to go get it, so can you. Okay? And so what I want you to understand is, in this noisy cyber town, you've got to stand out on your own. And the best way to do that is going to be by you using your voice authentically. And the way to do that is by sharing your story. And it's, again, I want to stress, guys, that it's not about your story being the same as anybody else's or your story being less than anyone else's. The whole point of it is that we have our own experiences and our own mixture of life that gives us a different flavoring on those experiences than one that somebody else has lived through. And so your story has as much value as someone else's, and I don't want to say if not more, because what I'm saying is that you're just as valuable. You are just as valuable, not more than anybody else and not less than anybody else. You are just as valuable. And so your story is just as important, and I want you to use your voice authentically. And if you need help with that, you know, I am the Master Brand Story Coach. I can definitely help you with that. And so I would love for you to go to www.monetizeyourmessages with an S in the end and join me inside of the Dope Ass Entrepreneur Group as we get started on this boot camp, this 5-day boot camp, in which we're going to be finding out what story we want to use to attract and impact the ideal customer, the ideal client, the ideal audience that we want in our sphere. We are not talking to those who are broke. but we are going to be here to help those who are broken. Okay? And I want you to understand that broken, while two different things, do come from the same place. Okay? So we want people who are ready to invest. And the way to do that is to make sure that we're telling our story in the strongest way possible. So join me in the group. And remember, you're a dope-ass entrepreneur. So be dope, stay dope, always. Love y'all.